So approximately 5.16 million people are playing football, tackle football in the United States. Hi, my name is Vaughn, and today I am joined by Ashton, and I'm here to talk about how many people get scholarships to play at the high school, how many of those get drafted and play at the NFL level, and then how many of those are affected by grades. Only around 2% of the 5.16 million people get to go to a Division I scholarship. That's leaving around 98% of those kids not playing at a D1. They're either playing at a D2 or D3. And each Division I school gets around 83 scholarships on their roster, leaving 98% of them doing something like playing at a different school. According to Bill Fay, who used to work for the NCAA and is a sports and finance publisher, he said that most of the kids get paid for their tuition, their fees, their boards, their course books, and also their food, but that's leaving the 98% having to pay for their own stuff. Everything else is not paid for a scholarship or nothing like that. Now that I've talked about how many of the people get scholarships to high school, I'm going to talk about how many of those get drafted into the NFL. Only around 1.6% of those students that play in the college level get drafted to the NFL. That's leaving around 98 to 98.4% of those students not playing at the professional level, which is kind of crazy to me. According to the NCAA report, less than 2% of all college students or college athletes play professional sports. And for football, it's even less, leaving it to 1.6% for all college students playing at the professional level. Now that I've talked about the high schoolers and how they get scholarships, and then how many of those get drafted into the NFL, I'm going to talk about how grades can be affected, or like how your GPA affects those levels of you getting a scholarship. Most of the time, schools will look at kids with a higher GPA or with higher test scores because it makes sure that in case they don't make it or in case they get injured, they still have that one bump. They're still smart enough to do whatever they want to do and choose another profession. And it's easier for them to get both an academic and an athletic scholarship if you have a good grades. That's why most of the time coaches look at you and make sure that if they're recruiting you for a football scholarship, that if you have a higher GPA, it's easier for you to get both an academic and an athletic scholarship, and then they can use that money to pay for someone else to get also a football scholarship with you if they're good enough. Said by the University of Sports program, coaches will usually look at your GPA and the ACT and SAT scores before they contact an athlete. The higher your grades and test scores are, the more attractive you look as a college student, which is kind of crazy to me because that's leaving everyone else. If you have bad grades, stuff like that, they don't even look at you. So today we discussed how many scholarships are given to the high school students, how many of those get drafted into the NFL, and about how many of those get scholarships or not. And I wanted to let you know that if you decide to get a football scholarship, to make sure you have something else in mind, like another profession or something else you can go do, because it's very, very difficult to make it